Okay, we are talking about converting between moles and Avogadro's number, which is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd molecules or particles, either one. To go from moles to molecules, we're going to multiply by the number. And to go from particles to moles, we're going to divide by the number. All right, so 2 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. And that should definitely look like a superscript because it is. All right, so here's how I do this. You multiply the coefficients, 2 times 6.02. And you get 12.04 times 10 to the 23rd. That is not in proper scientific notation. You have to fix that. So think of it as a teeter-totter. I move my decimal place one spot to the left, and I get 1.204. So that's dividing by 10. So I need to multiply this side by 10. And then it's in proper sign notation. It is not in proper sig figs. We should have 2 sig figs. So 1.2 times 10 to the 24th. All of these units are molecules, and don't get lazy because you can't abbreviate it as moles. 1.5 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So this time I'm going to do 1.5 times 6.02. And this number is already in scientific, it will be in scientific notation. I just tack that back on. My sig figs aren't right, so I would change that to just 9.0. If you're not worried about sig figs, you can leave it. 0.75 times Avogadro's number. So 0.75 times 6.02 gives me 4.515. Then tack this back on. And we're going to check sign notation. We're going to check sig figs. So sign notation is good. It's in between 1 and essentially 10. We need 2 sig figs, so we're going to get rid of the 1.5. 4.5 times 10 to the 23rd. 15 times the quantity, Avogadro's number. So 15 times 6.02, get a number, which is 90.3 times 10 to the 23rd, tack that on. You notice that is not proper scientific notation because the coefficient is bigger than 1. So if we move our decimal place to the left, I get a number that is less than, bigger than 1, less than 10. That's what I want. So that is what I have. So when I move my decimal place to the left, I divide by 10, which means I need to multiply by 10. And then technically I would have to get rid of this 3 because that's not the correct number of sig figs. However, if your teacher doesn't care about sig figs, you're good. Last one, 0.35 times the quantity, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So 0.35 times 6.02 gives me 2.107 times 10 to the 23rd. My sign notation is correct, but not my sig fig, so I'm going to get rid of the 07. 2.1 times 10 to the 23rd. Okay, now I'm going to divide by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So your answer is 1. And by the way, these are all moles for units. Yes, but again, you might be caught up and you need 3 sig figs. So if you need 3 sig figs, you would have 2 zeros there. Divide this by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Now, I will divide coefficients only. So 1.204 divided by 6.02, I get 0.2 times, and now I subtract exponents. 24 minus 23 is 10 to the 1. That is not proper scientific notation. So I move my decimal place one spot to the right, which is multiplying by 10, which means I need to divide this by 10, which is 0. So 2 times 10 to the 0 is just a 2. But you would technically need 4 sig figs. So if my method of solving these equations or this calculation is too tricky, you can certainly plug it all into your calculator and do it your way. Divide by Avogadro's number. 1.5 divided by 6.02. 0.249. Subtract exponents. 20 minus 23rd is 10 to the minus 3. Okay, So this number in the front is not between 1 and 10, essentially. So move that over. So I get 2.49. That's multiplying by 10. So I need to divide by 10. So that gets smaller to the -4. So that's also not proper sig figs. This should be 2.5 because it's going to round to 2 sig figs. 2.5 times 10 to the -4. Now, if you are not a sign notation person, which get with it, you can also include 1, 2, 3, 0.00025, and this is moles. That would also work. All right, divide by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. 3.4 divided by 6.02 equals 0.56478. It's way too many sig figs. 26 minus 23 is 10 to the 3rd. And also, let's kill two birds with one stone here. We got 2 sig figs, so we want 2 sig figs, so 0.56. Move that over, so 5.6. Though that multiplies by 10, so this needs to divide by 10, so we have 10 to the 2nd, which you can also have in regular old form, 560. Okay, and sig figs are still good. Finally, divide by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. 7.5 divided by 6.02 is 1, and we're going to have 2 sig figs, so 1.2. And then 19 minus 23 is 10 to the -4. And look at that. That's in proper sign notation. Everything's good. Sig figs are good. If you want that in the long form, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0.00012. If you have questions, please reach out to me. Thank you.